This is Korea News for May 17, 2022. On the 16th, President Yoon Seok-Yeol stressed the urgency of reforming pension, labor, and education and requested the National Assembly for bipartisan cooperation. During his first visit to the National Assembly for a speech on the municipal administration, he showed his will to solve the problem through social consensus by addressing the topic. It is necessary, but it is not easy to solve it due to sharp conflicting interests. There are speculations that he may have taken the lead in government by preempting reform issues. President Yoon said, "The crises and challenges we face now, both inside and outside the country, are difficult to overcome without completing the reforms we have been putting off." President Yoon saw the need for pension reform to provide a tight social safety net, labor reform to enhance competitiveness and job creation, and education reform to provide education that matches the level of technological progress. He also urged the government and the National Assembly to cooperate on a bipartisan basis. As the prevalence of Omicron mutation in Korea continues to decline, there were 33,000 new confirmed cases of corona by 9 p.m. on the 16th. According to the quarantine authorities and each local government, from midnight to 9 p.m. on the same day, 33,948 people were confirmed in 17 cities and provinces across the country. The number increased by 21,031 from 12,917 for the same time period the previous day. 1 week ago, on the 9th, 14,543 people were less than the 48,491 in the same time zone, and 15,559 fewer than the 49,507 people on the second 2 weeks ago. As there is still time until midnight, when the counting ends, the number of new confirmed cases to be announced on the 17th is expected to increase even more. As of the 16th, with the number of new fever cases in North Korea approaching 270,000, the People's Army was put into action to stabilize the supply of medicines in Pyongyang according to Kim Jong-un's special order and started supplying and transporting medicines in a 24-hour system. The North Korean National Emergency Response Command said on the 17th that from 6 p.m. on the 15th to 6 p.m. on the 16th, there were 269,510 new cases of fever, 172,460 recovered, and 6 died. Announced through communication. The number of fever cases nationwide from the end of last month to the afternoon of the previous day was 1,483,060, of which 819,090 were fully recovered, and 663,910 were receiving treatment, the news agency reported. A total of 56 people have died so far. The Korean People's Army was urgently dispatched to all pharmacies in Pyongyang the day before while the spread of the coronavirus in North Korea was strong, and began to transport and supply medicines 24 hours a day, the news agency reported. North Korea's propaganda media Echo also reported on the same day. Recently, voices of anxiety and concern are growing in South Korea regarding Yoon Seok-Yeol's inauguration as president. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Unification is said to be in contact with North Korea as early as this week to discuss its intentions, such as supplying vaccines. There are concerns that the North Korean media's accusation of President Yoon may become an obstacle to medical cooperation between the two Koreas. It was found that production and domestic demand in the domestic automobile industry decreased last month due to supply chain instability. However, exports increased thanks to brisk sales of eco-friendly vehicles. The Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy announced on the 16th that the domestic automobile industry produced 306,462 units last month, down 5.3% from the same month last year. According to the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy, production declined due to disruptions in the supply of parts due to China's zero-corona policy, which blocks major cities amid the continued supply and demand shortage of automotive semiconductors. Domestic demand recorded 143,167 units, a decrease of 11.1% compared to the same month last year due to the continued backlog of shipments and negative base effects. In domestic sales, domestic cars sold 119,967 units, a decrease of 11.2% compared to the same month last year, and imported cars sold 23,200 units, down 10.6% from the same month last year. Financial authorities and banks are closely monitoring whether the price drop of the cryptocurrency Luna and the stablecoin Terra will lead to loan defaults. Banks are predicting that out of the 200,000 people who have invested in Luna and Terra, borrowers are expected to take out a lot of loans. On the 17th, an official from the financial authorities said, the department is closely monitoring whether the collapse of some cryptocurrencies will spread to loan risks in their 20s and 30s. The cryptocurrency Luna, which was traded at 100,000 won just a week ago, has plummeted by more than 99% and fell to the level of 1 at one time. Currently, domestic cryptocurrency exchanges Upbit and Bithumb have decided to delist Luna. In online communities where cryptocurrency investors gather, there are a series of articles saying that the value of Luna became a piece of tissue paper and lost all of its fortune. It is known that more than 200,000 investors are currently affected. The number of investors holding Luna in the 4 major domestic exchanges is estimated to be 170,000. The problem is that most of the investors are investors who borrow money to invest. A bank official said, it is estimated that about 100,000 people borrowed through banks. As the market interest rate soars due to Korea's base rate hike, the burden on borrowers is increasing. This is because the KOPIX funding cost index, which is the standard for major loan interest rates, such as variable rate mortgage loans and Jeon's loans, reached its highest point in more than 3 years. While the interest rate on fixed mortgage loans has risen to below 7% per annum, it is predicted that the interest rate on variable mortgages will also exceed 6% per annum. The Federation of Banks announced on the 16th that as of April, the new amount of COFIX handled was 1.84%, up 0.12 percentage points from the previous month's 1.72%. It is the highest since 1.85% in May 2019. The range of increase also expanded by 0.1 percentage point from 0.02 percentage point in the previous month. As the Bank of Korea raised the base interest rate from 1.25% to 1.5% a year last month, the interest rates on deposits and savings accounts at commercial banks rose by up to 0.4 percentage points. COFIXs based on balance and new balances also recorded 1.58% and 1.22%, up 0.08 percentage points and 0.05 percentage points, respectively. In the aftermath of the rise in COFIX, the interest rates on major commercial banks' loans will also be raised simultaneously from the 17th. The interest rate on variable home equity loans at the four major commercial banks, including Kookmin Shinyan, Hanawoori, and others, has risen from 3.42 to 5.11% per annum, up to 5.23% per annum. I just want the nearby university to close first. This is what a local university official said when it became difficult to recruit new students due to the decrease in the school-age population. As of the 2021 academic year, the recruitment rate of new students at all four-year colleges and two-year colleges was 91.4%, and 4,586 new students could not be recruited. There are 24,190 vacancies at two-year junior colleges and 16,396 at four-year colleges. As the school-age population continues to decline, it is predicted that the number of vacancies at all universities and colleges will reach 100,000 in 2 years. Of the 191 four-year general universities in Korea, private universities account for 81.6%, or 156 universities. The more severe the student shortage becomes, the more likely a university that closes will come from among private universities that do not receive support for operating expenses from the government. In fact, the 16 four-year colleges and two-year colleges that were closed after 2000 were all private. Students who do not meet the minimum scholastic ability should not be admitted to college by introducing a minimum score system for the scholastic ability test scores. As the original purpose of the test is to use the math ability test as a function to measure the math ability required in universities. In the aftermath of the decrease in the school-age population, many local universities are not able to select students but are only recruiting students. The budget for the national scholarship for university students stood at 4.65 trillion won as of this year, an increase of 662.1 billion won from the previous year. As a result, up to 8 income brackets will receive a national scholarship of more than 3.5 million won per year. This is in accordance with the Moon Jae-in government's policy of reducing the burden of college tuition, and as of this year, about 1 million college students are receiving the benefits of half-price tuition. Even students who do not have sufficient academic ability enter universities with national scholarships, and their tuition is sustaining poor universities. It is a waste of the national budget for even students who do not have the minimum scholastic ability to go to university. This problem should be resolved by introducing the minimum score system for the scholastic ability in the new university admission system to be confirmed in 2024. To do this, it is necessary to verify the eligibility for college entrance exams based on academic ability scores, and to induce students who failed to receive vocational education. However, it is necessary to establish a policy that must be supported by improvements in wages and treatment of small and medium-sized enterprises, and that the social integration selection process to provide higher education opportunities for the low-income class is maintained. Thank you for watching today. Please like and subscribe.
잘들 생각해 보세요. 저는 이거 폐차할 때까지 타고 다닐 거니까. 그리고 3, 4년 뒤에 전기차 쌈박하고 그러. 아 진짜 오늘 엄청 일찍 출근하네. 오늘 하루 열심히 쎄빠지게 일하겠습니다. 여러분들도 파이팅 하십시오. 감사합니다.